tell you what I'm talking about, baby.
Lads, lasses, people with glasses, and of course, all of those in between. My name, in case you didn't already know, is Dexter, and today I'm wanting to do my very first tutorial video. Now, it might also be my very last tutorial, depending on how this goes. But basically, what I'm wanting to show you is how to make yourself a little paracord tank cover, or, if you want, a little paracord pouch. Either way, it should work brilliantly for you. So, now I've got my 0.8 size tank here. Now obviously depending on how big your tank is will depend on how much paracord you're going to have to use. But what I would recommend is that you start, this is a little bit tight, with around about 100 foot of paracord. Obviously, like I said, it's going to depend on how big of a tank you've got. If you're using a 13 CI, you're going to use hardly any. If you're using a 1.5, you're probably going to use the full 100 foot, maybe more. I'm not sure. I've only done this one. But anyway, that is the tank cover on there. And as you can see, this one I made a few mistakes with it, but like I made it a little bit too short, and I made a few mistakes with the bottom. But even then, I think it's quite good, especially with this was just made out of bits of paracord that I had lying around that I joined together, and I think it actually worked out quite good with the black and the green. But anyway, now I will switch over to a different camera angle, and I'll show you all the materials that you're actually going to need to do the job. Right guys, so these are the materials that you're going to need. So you will need a push button toggle. I mean, this isn't totally necessary, but I would recommend it. It just makes the job look a little bit tidier. You're only going to need this when it comes to finishing the project off. You will also need a lighter. That is, you could use a candle or something, but it's easier to use a lighter. Just for if you're planning on joining any paracord, or if you want to, just see lengthen up when you're finishing the job off. You will need a set of pliers. I would recommend needle nose, just because they're easier to get into the tighter places with and pull things out, instead of trying to use the bull nose pliers where you might not be able to do that. Also, where it's a lot easier to seal up a piece of paracord that you've just burnt with the lighter with the pliers than it is with your hand. It doesn't hurt as much. The next thing that I would recommend you need, but I recommend you buy if you want to do this, it's not necessary, but I would highly recommend it, makes things a lot easier, is a little paracord needle. Now it's just a case of paracord nips into that end, and it makes things one hell of a lot easier. Next, you're going to need some sticky tape, an elastic band. You're going to need a lot of paracord, no doubt. For this, I have procured some knitting needles, but you don't necessarily have to use knitting needles as long as it's this sort of, as long as it's a bit longer than your tank. I would say no thicker than about a pencil. You're going to need 4 of these, and they just need to be nice and smooth, so they're going to be able to slide out, because they are going to be getting fixed around the tank as you start the job. The reason that they need to be longer than the tank is because your paracord is going to be coming up over the curve, and if they're not, your paracord's going to slide down and it won't work right. And then obviously the last thing you're going to need is the air tank that you're wanting to do the paracord wrap for, because you need it for know how much or how big your paracord wrap needs to be. So I think that's pretty much it, and I suppose now on to the how-to. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is take your elastic band and put it over the neck of the bottle, with the long strand of paracord heading away from the regulator and the short strand heading up towards. After that, you want to evenly space your needles, or whatever else you're using, evenly space it around your bottle and secure it with some sticky tape. Now, following on from there, you want to start your tank wrap at roughly the same sort of height as where you've got the elastic band on. And I've thrown this picture in here just to show you if you want to do a half and half tank cover style, similar to the one I showed at the beginning of the video. It's around this sort of height where you want to start your mixed colour. So anyway, you're going to want to carry on your wrap all the way down to the bottom of the tank, and until you get just about flush. then you're going to want to start your weave back up through, and you want to carry this on all the way around your bottle, like I'm showing in through the pictures here. So now that you've done your weave all the way around the bottle, you can consider pulling your needles out at this point and then moving on to the bottom, which is a little hard to explain, but I'll let the pictures guide you through this bit for the most part. Pretty much it's just a case of doing a knot and then following it all the way around the weave in a clockwise direction until you get round to the middle. And then once you're into the middle, it's just a case of, it's just as simple as tie a couple of knots and yeah, pretty much done. Right guys, so we're coming to a close on the tank cover project, and at this point, you know, we've just finished off the wrapping it all up, getting the bottom all knitted up together, and you're left with this strand coming off the bottom. Now, as you've seen in the last picture, you know, if you've looped it over once, tied a knot, looped it over again, and then looped it through that, and you should have something that looks sort of like that there. Hopefully you can see that on that camera. I know it's not the best quality, but it's the best I've got to work with at the minute. So anyway, you've got that there. What you want to do is pull that nice and tight so it shouldn't come loose. And now this is something that I've probably put in another mention of this in somewhere earlier on, but I forgot to mention it originally. You will need a cutting implement for this. You know, you're going to need like a sharp knife or a pair of scissors. So anyway, what you want to do is just trim that off a couple of mil just above where your knot is, and take it off like that. And that should leave just a little stub of material, just a little stub of paracord there that you're going to burn into place just so you can seal it up. So it's just going to be a case of, obviously you're going to need your lighter for this point. Remember I said you're going to need a lighter earlier on. And when you're working with paracord, you will want to use the bottom part of the flame where it's blue. You know, it's hotter, plus the yellow part will leave burn marks. So I'm just going to slide that. I'm going to have to slide it off me tank cover here. Oh, sorry, off me tank. So just, now it's sticking because of the cell tape from underneath. So just, because the last thing I want to do is, you know, use a lighter on a air tank. I don't want any bottle explosions going on. So find where your piece of paracord is there, your end, and take a lighter and just hold it on for a couple of seconds, and then mold it into place. And what your ultimate goal is to bond the frayed end into the rest of the paracord on the bottom, and it should seal it in place and stop it all from unraveling. So I'm just going to go over that again, and if you just roll the lighter on, it'll give you a bit of a, it'll help bond it in without you burning your fingers. So I think that's almost there. Just one more, and that should just about do it. Yeah, looks good there. Now hopefully in the long term that shouldn't come undone. Now you will notice that there is a few holes in the bottom there, but there's not really all that much that I can do about that. This is only the second one I have actually made. You know, I was maybe a bit premature in doing a tutorial video on this, but I was asked how to, so, well, I was asked about selling them and didn't feel comfortable selling them, so I thought I would do a tutorial. Saves you a bit of money on something I wouldn't necessarily want to buy and sell myself. So my girlfriend's sitting staring at us here, looking like I'm some sort of freak or an idiot. So anyway, I'm going to fast forward this a little bit, or I might skip it forward, and I'll show you how to, well, what to do with this bit that was left at the top of the bottle. Right, so guys, like I said, on to what to do with this last strand. Now, what you're going to want to do is, if you're using a paracord needle, thread your needle onto this last bit, and it's just a case of weaving it through again. But this time, you're going to follow one of the previous weaves all the way down. So, I think I can do this on camera without it taking too long. And I would say take it around about halfway down, get a needle there, and pull it through. Now with this one, you can, if you want to bond it in, but it doesn't. I don't think it's going to make that much difference whether you do or not. Now, unless you want to unravel this, it shouldn't really make a difference. So I'll just show you then. I'm not sure if you actually saw us weave it through or not. I wasn't actually paying attention to the camera. Sorry about that. But you should take it down around about halfway. Just like I said, following one of the previous weaves just up there. And then just a case of cut it off. And as I said, if you want to, you can go ahead and bond it in with a lighter again. Or I think I'm just going to leave mine as it is. And it shouldn't make that much difference. Yeah. Now I suppose I'll flick on through to the last part of the video, and that should be pretty much it, almost there. Right then, so we're on to the last part of the build now, and what you're going to want is one last little piece of paracord. You can just kind of get a gauge of how big it is there. Now, obviously I've already threaded this onto my paracord needle, and I've taken my little toggle, and I've threaded it through that, just to save a little bit of time later on, make this a little bit easier. Trying to shove two bits of paracord through there at the same time is a little bit awkward, so easier to get that on there now. So, what you're going to want to do is take your tank cover, and you're going to be looking for the parts where the top loops. I'll try and show you that there. It's just I'm not sure whether the vertical loops through the top of those. So I'll just do that here now, and I'll speed this bit up a little bit for you. Right, now that that's done, you can take your two ends, your threaded end, straight through, and there you go, that's your toggle on. Now pop that out, now tie just a nice simple knot in the end there, so that they're not going to come apart and you're not going to lose your toggle over the end, like that, and it's a case of then shove your tank back into it. Tank cover is on, and trying to do this without my tank falling over, and there you go. Now that should stop it from it cinches up the end there a little bit, should stop it from falling off, and nice cheap tank cover, should stop your tank from getting any major dings in it or anything, and depending on what colours you want to use, can look pretty cool. So I should be repping this whenever I go out in the field now. I'll still be keeping my spare tank cover just in case though, but I'm reasonably happy with that. So if you before I finish the video off there, if you want to give it a go, why not make a little video for it, or even post just post up a picture or something like that, and see how you get on with your projects. So I think that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time.